Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? I'm up, as you can see on the mini-map there, by Field 1. Now, I have been told by quite a few people that generally you don't want me to have the mini-map up for the Let's Plays, but you do want me to have the mini-map up for the time-lapse series. However, some people do want the mini-map as well on the Let's Play, so I'm sort of going to do it sometimes on and off for this one, so you can sort of get an idea of where I am. Anyway, I have driven up here, and as you may have guessed, the question for last week, did you want me to buy Field 1 or Field 6 up here so that I could plant poplars? Number 1 has won, and I was aware that when I did the first card, I said Field 2 instead of Field 6. That was a mistake. Most people sort of realise that one anyway, but it was pointed out. I wasn't able to change it. Once the poll card is done, you're not actually able to change it. We are going to get stuck straight into this. Let me just start, so that we can start working our way through it. I think it was over 400,000 required for this field. Now that we know where we are, we can turn that mini-map off so that we can sort of see a bit more stuff here. Once I get going, I will let you know the results for the... I got all the numbers for last week's question. Before I do, this week's question, you know, I probably should have done it before I started the job, because now I can't actually go to the shop to show you the options. Oh well, we'll have to do it like this. So let's unfold this combine and then unfold the header. This week's question, I need a bit more of a regular income, and at the moment we don't have very much at all. We are sort of struggling to make ends meet, and so in order to have regular income, I'm going to do one of two things. I am either going to get some placeables and put those down, or I'm going to... hang on, let me see. I'm going to cut one strip on each side of the field before I start cutting up and down, and then we can sort of use the GPS mod. So yes, I need to either get some placeables and put those down so we get a bit of regular income from them, or I need to get some animals that we can use as regular income that way. I know that we got the chickens and the eggs, but you don't get a huge amount from those. So I'm not really going to prioritise getting... well, I can't get any more chickens. So I know that I said that this was going to be mostly an arable map. So this is down to you. I'm going to earn about $100,000 in order to get either some animals or some placeables. So do you want me to spend my 100,000 on... actually it'd be 125,000. Do you want me to get one solar collector for 125,000? Do you want me to get 6 beehives, which are actually 120,000 because they're $20,000 each? Or do you want me to spend 125,000 on sheep and put them in the sheep pen, and then we can regularly sell wool from the sheep? So we'll spend 125,000 on them. We will probably buy them direct rather than hiring a trailer in order to transport them, but I don't know yet if we're going to do that. We have mowers and we have a field of grass, so instead of taking it to silage for the first time, or next time, you know, we could just do a little bit on feed the sheep. So we've basically got the setup there for sheep, so I figured that was probably the better option. For the other animals, it would take a bit more to sort of get them set up. So it's sheep, beehives, or a solar collector. It's your vote, it's your game. You can vote up in the corner up there on the white eye as per usual, and also head into the comment section, let me know what you think of the question, and let me know why you're voting for what you're voting. And I'm just going to... we're going to carry on along here. So as I was saying, the last week's question, I got all the numbers. Quite a lot of people prefer me to have Field 1 over Field 6. Because, well, most of you said because it's a lot bigger, so you get a lot more poplars out of it. It does mean it's going to take a lot of work in order to get this field. So we're going to be doing a lot of contracting jobs for this week. This week is going to be mostly about doing contracting. We'll keep an eye on our own crops to make sure that they don't go too far. I think we might have to do some weeding or some more fertilizer spreading. We'll keep an eye on those and we'll harvest those whenever we can. But mostly we're going to have to be doing a lot of contracting. And it's quite fortunate. This field is ready to harvest. So we'll be able to harvest and then fertilise and then plough and then cultivate and then drill the next crop in, all on this field. So it should help to reduce the price of this field. And then after that, in order to get the money for this field and the 100,000 that we're going to need for another field, I might actually go and do a bit of work on field 5. Whether I do it this week or I do it off camera, I'm not quite sure yet. That's I'm still sort of trying to decide that one. That's on my to be decided list. I'll just turn around here and head up here. I don't know if the GPS is going to allow us to turn sharp enough to move straight up and down the rows, or if we're going to have to leave an extra row each time when we do this. And once I've gone along the top here, I will then be able to engage the GPS and we'll start working up and down the field. So we've got room to turn on the headland. That's why I'm doing this, is so we've got a bit of space for turning round. So anyway, the numbers for last week's question: I had 2,415 responses to the survey last week, which is absolutely fantastic. 345 people thought I should do field 6, and a lot of people were saying they want field 6 because it's smaller, it'll be easier to get. It's not going to be such a massive undertaking to actually get the field. It's really close to the sawmill. We haven't got anywhere near as far to go. I mean, this one's not too bad, but you know, field 6 is a lot closer. Although actually, when I look at the map, field 6 ain't a lot closer, because the tracks that come out onto the road there, they both come out in the same place. So actually field 6 is the same distance away. So the main reason would be the so 345 people thought it would be better to get that one, because it would be cheaper and easier for me to get and get going with it. And then 2,070 people want me to get this field up here. So this is going to be a big undertaking. We need $440,000, I think it is, to start with. And then after that, we've got to earn the money. So, hang on. I just want to bring that back over there. Right, let's start going up across the field. So yeah, it's going to take quite a while to earn the 400,000. I think you get a 20% reduction, so that should be about 88,000 knocked off, which is going to still got to be $360,000. $360,000. That is not cheap. We've got 80 grand now. I sold all the silage. I sort of sorted out the issue with the extra bit in the middle. You know, we had that sort of bank of silage in the middle. It turns out that the main reason for that is if you open it both ends. If you only open it one end, it generally works better. And then as you get to each new section of silage, it sort of uncovers the next bit. So that's what we should have done, and that's what we'll do next time we make silage. End field mode. I want to do that, and I want to turn it that way. And we're going to try and turn back on ourselves, and I'm hoping that we've got... I might need to bring it back just a little bit, so... let's go about 3 meters back for... let's go for 5 meters back from the end of the field. I don't know if that's going to be far enough, or it might actually be too far. We'll have to see. So, will it allow us to turn back on ourselves? And if it does, then we can just sort of let the machine go, and I might actually time-lapse the rest of the field. I know what a lot of you were saying was that the reason you want me to go for this field is because I'm going to have to do a lot of contracting work, which means there'll be a lot more mini time-lapses. Very sneaky, very, very sneaky. And, yeah, you're right, there probably will have to be several mini time-lapses coming up. And we are able to turn back on ourselves. The header is now big enough that we can turn back on ourselves. So what I can do is I can press the left control button and get rid of the lines. Then I press that button and I get rid of that, and I can time-lapse it. So I'm going to time-lapse this one, and then I think we will have to wait until morning before we can do too much more. I'm going to do this all from one angle, so I need to find an optimal angle before I start rushing off to do the rest. I think we're going to sort of watch this one from... I don't really want to go up too high. It's all about finding the angle. Very often I'll change angles when I'm doing time-lapse stuff. I think we're going to watch this. It's going to be slightly in front of the machine, and we'll be able to get a good look at it as well. I need to be above where the crop is, because obviously when I turn round, I need to take that into account. We'll do it from here. Okay, Now we will finish the field.
Day has passed like a hurricane to my heart, to the far away. See the lights on the other side. I'm going to get there and hope we will meet there.
That is almost all of this field completed, and we've done it in fairly good time as well. I think we had a total of about 58 minutes, so we've taken half an hour so far to do this field, and I reckon we will finish this run and we'll just start the next one, but we won't get all the way through it. We won't even get close to all the way through the next one. We did leave a tiny little strip up through there, I noticed, halfway through. Not quite sure why, and obviously the GPS didn't move us over in exactly the right place as it was coming up through, but we have done really well. I've been really pleased with this, and I'm really pleased with how it performs, because it does mean that you then don't have to steer your way through, and it keeps it extra super efficient all the way through the field. And the other thing I've noticed is, it never occurred to me before, time seems to stand still. Because we're on our normal 5 times speed, it should be the middle of the night by now. We've been playing for well over half an hour, so it should be the middle of the night, but it's exactly the same time of day as it was when we started. Look, there's our glorious sunset, and the glorious sunset hasn't changed at all. So it'll be interesting to see, once we do complete this, do we actually jump forward in time? Will that time have actually passed, or will it continue from when we started the mission? Does it kind of freeze in place? The other thing is, we're not going to have a lot of these massive harvest jobs available, because most of the fields on the map are in the final. You've got 3 growth stages for plants being able to be harvested at the moment, and so when you look on the map, you've got sort of, it's yellow, dark yellow, and then orange to say that they're ready to be cut. And it's got to go through the 3 growth stages, so it gives you plenty of time to go to the field if you want to and do the harvesting mission. Most of the fields on the map are at the final growth stage for the mission, so once this is done, we'll have all of the fields will be harvested in the next growth stage, and I suspect then we'll have quite a few. There will be the fertilizing and ploughing and so on. Right, we're done. That has given us $30,000, and we need roughly $360,000. So we've gone a little way toward. We're up to 110,000, and it would appear that time stands still while you do a mission. It just completely freezes and stays still. So we could go and do another one and keep working through this sunset. If you take a look at the map a minute, I'll show you what I was talking about. Yeah, ready to harvest. There's those there all ready to harvest. These here have all been harvested. We've got 2 fields here that have got tops ready to be removed and then harvested, and all of that lot is going to be harvested now soon. So there's a massive amount that's ready, and then there'll be several jobs then for ploughing and cultivating and so on. I was wondering whether I should try and do field 5. Wait until it's harvested. I won't do the harvesting, but you do actually need to do the ploughing and the cultivating in order to be able to get the planting job. You've got to do all 3. I don't think it allows you. Once it moves forward, it will go from harvested to planted. You sort of miss the opportunity. If we did go to field 5, I might do sort of a short time lapse on that. I was actually thinking it'd be really cool to do one of the big fields as potatoes, potatoes or sugar beet, because you get a huge amount of money because it would take ages, and I could sort of do a time lapse. It'd be like a mini time lapse for most of the episode, but I don't know if I'll have time because obviously that's it. I think the estimated time is at 5 hours to do that. It is obscenely high. So sheep, you can't actually check the prices of sheep, but they are around $4,000 each, which means we get 5 per 20. So 5 times 6. So we get 30 sheep for our 31 sheep, I think, for our $125,000. And the placeables that I was looking at getting are the beehive, which is that one there, the bee house. I'll get 120,000 worth of those, or I will get one of those. Now this one gives $90 an hour, which is not going to offset all of our costs, not by a long way, but it will help a little bit. And then the bee house, that gives us $16 an hour, but obviously we will have 6 of them, so that's actually will give us a little bit more than the solar collector, but we'd have to get 6 of them and place them all down and so on. I'm not going to do the greenhouses because they do require manure, although some people have been telling me that you get the $60 an hour if you just put water in, and if you put manure in as well, then it doubles it up. So I don't know, I haven't looked at those at all, I haven't checked them. I don't want to run the risk because other people have been saying that's not actually true. So I'm not going to run the risk on this map. We'll take a look at those at another. I'll probably stick a few of them in somewhere on the time-lapse map, and then we can check it out. But that is the question, and I'm going to get started on another mission now, so we won't be able to finish. So just keep in mind that it's the solar collector, the bee houses, or it'll be sheep, and we will put them, well, obviously they go over in the sheep pen over here, and we've got field 14 as grass, so we'll be able to supply them with a bit of food. Now, our growth stages, we've got, that one's on, is it changing at the moment? That one's on, it's partly, just planted, and then most of the field is on the first growth stage. That one's on the second growth stage now. I don't want to go there, I want to have a look at fertilizer. Right, so field 15, they both need another round of fertilizer, basically, and we've got the ploughed bit around the edge. I'm not going to worry too much about that bit, we can sort of live with that. So they both need a coat of fertilizer, so we will do that first thing in the morning. We'll have to do that tomorrow, I think. Anyway, our next job on here, we get to use this one here, the Premium Integral 2. I love this thing. This is absolutely fantastic. I do use this one quite a bit when I'm doing the missions on time-lapse map, and I will actually go through and see that I get that tanker. I really love this thing, and I'm really looking forward to being able to buy it. We won't be getting that one on this map. Probably won't be going as extreme as that on Sosnyovka either, unless we lease it for something. I'm not sure if we'll get to that or not, and it sort of depends on a few things. And that's the one thing that bugs me about it is when you're using the case with the tracks on it like this, it does do a lot of shaking around like that when you are using this tanker. I don't know if it's just this one, but it's the one that I've noticed it on. See, look at that. He's shaking even when he's sat still. Now, I don't think we will use the GPS for this one. We will see if we can do this one by eye. And see, we've only got 13 minutes to do this mission, so I better hurry up and get started. And if I back up, I always keep this out as far as I possibly can. Let's start up and go. Right, I'm hanging out over the edge quite a long way at the moment. So if I just slowly... You don't want to adjust in great big turns, because otherwise you end up missing bits. And so I want to pick a piece there. And the way that I do this, people were asking, how do I get my driving accurate when I'm doing a time-lapse? Especially when I'm not using the GPS. Obviously the GPS will do it for me. Well, what you do is, if you have a look at the front wheel there, on this side, I've got a slightly lighter patch of ground right there that I'm actually lined up with. And all I'm doing is I'm holding the steering wheel, and I'm keeping my wheel on that line, and it keeps it in a straight line. And the art of it is to try and sort of gauge how far over you need to move for the start of the next run up across the field. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky. Now, here, I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to turn it. This is actually reasonably easy when you're doing the outside round. I do an outside round, and then you can do the land work on it quite easily. It does it quite quickly and efficiently. I don't know where I'm going there. That's how not to do it. That's how not to do it. Backing it around like that was terrible. And then you do the same here. You look for the pattern, and because all of the ground textures do have a repeating pattern, you just find the piece of the pattern that is repeating and then just keep yourself lined up with it. It does mean that when you're actually driving, you don't get to look at the rest of the machine a great deal until you've really sort of got practice with it. But once you have got practice with it, you can sort of keep yourself on line and on target with it, and you can admire the rest of the machine as it's working. Now, if I just turn around a second so that we can go back up this side, we are getting patches of green showing through on the field texture on this one. I'm not quite sure why that would be. Might be something to... There, see? It might be something to do with the rendering or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Now, we've got a little bit of space here that we can get lined up. I'm going to guess that it's around about there. That's almost spot on. So I'll go like that. And there. So this time what I'm doing is I've got my mirror lined up with the two lighter patches on either side of the tractor, and that actually seems to be holding it in place. So now all I got to do is just follow that all the way through, and then you can just sort of zoom in a little bit if you want to, and you can admire the way that the machine is working, so long as you can sort of maintain. If you rotate the camera, you need to find a new position to focus on so that you can make sure that you stay on course, especially if you're not able to keep an eye on the tail end of the machine. But there, see, I've drifted quite badly there. I've moved right over away from my initial course, and there I've just corrected it. You don't want to correct too sharply, like I said, because it can get messy. You make mistakes, and then you don't have a nice even coverage of the field. Now, one of the reasons is you want even coverage because you're wanting to do the job as efficiently as possible to get your time bonuses. But if you ignore the time bonuses and you go for an element of realism, you want to get your field covered as efficiently as possible, because you don't want to be doing any double layering on the field. You want one coat across the whole field. You need your slurry to sort of go as far as possible. You don't want excess slurry in any one spot because it's kind of wasted. There's only so much nutrient that the field can hold and that the plants can draw through, and by the time it gets around to the following year, that extra nutrient that you chucked into the field is lost. It does get leached away into the soils by rain, and so you don't want to overspread. And also, if you do spread too heavily and then you get a lot of rain, you get problem with slurry runoff going into watercourses, and that is an absolute major disaster. But not for the reason that a lot of people think. They think that it poisons the river and chokes it all up, covers everything up. That's not the case. It doesn't actually do that. What it does is, if you get a load of slurry and nutrient-rich material like that going into a watercourse, it causes what's known as an algal bloom. You suddenly get all this extra nutrient gone into the water, and so you get more algae growing with all of the rich sudden rush of nutrients that are there. So it doesn't get noticed straight away. The slurry itself doesn't poison the fish. It doesn't harm the fish. What does harm the fish is that you get this algal bloom, and you suddenly get all this algae grow, and it just floods the river or the watercourse with loads and loads of algae. Now obviously if you get masses of slurry going into the river and it completely turns it all brown and that will be a problem for fish, and that would poison them. But most slurry spills aren't on that kind of scale. Most slurry spills are much smaller scale. But they cause this massive growth of algae, which then chokes the river and the watercourse, and it removes the oxygen from the water. It completely chokes it, and that's what kills all the fish. That's what causes the problems, and it's extremely difficult to control and clean up. I've no idea how they control it and clean it up. I just know that it is possible sometimes to control it so that you stop this massive amount of algae from growing, because once that starts, once this algal bloom suddenly explodes, the rest of the river is kind of, the other life in the river can be easily choked out very rapidly. The same thing can happen in the ocean, and it does occur naturally. These algal blooms do occur naturally, and there isn't a lot that people can do about it. If it does occur naturally, there's various different reasons. You get a sudden flush of nutrients coming in from a flood or something like that. Sometimes nobody's quite certain what triggers it all. And it does happen in the ocean as well. You get this sudden massive algal bloom, and you can have hundreds of square miles of ocean will all suddenly go bright green, or even other colours. There's various different colours of algae that you get, and you get these huge, great big patches will suddenly change colour, and it can happen nearly overnight. I mean, I don't know exactly how fast it can happen. I'm not looking into it that much, but I do remember reading an article about just how quickly it can transform. But I don't know the ecological impact of these massive blooms right out in the ocean. I do know that it does have an effect. I'm just not quite sure what sort of effect it has. Being from a farming background, I know that sticking slurry in the river is generally a bad idea because of the algal bloom and what it will do for all of the natural life that's living in the river. And so obviously you want to avoid that. But anyway, I've kind of got sidetracked. Once again, I always get sidetracked. We are almost finished this mission. I reckon that we'll finish this. We've got just a couple of minutes left of this episode. I'm thinking, because we need to do some... We're going to need to spread a bit of fertilizer on our fields tomorrow. We want to earn some more money. And as I was saying, I want to do a bit on Field 5. I'm thinking that I might try and do some on Field 5. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if I will have time to be able to do it. We're going to do more missions on this field. So tomorrow... oh, there we go. Right, there is another $7,200. Takes us up to 117. And the field is now $400,000. So it must have been a bit cheaper then. So I'm not sure what it's going to... It might actually end up getting down to 320. We now have a plough. I'm not going to start this one now. I'm not going to start the ploughing job now. Decisions. If I don't do the ploughing, is it going to jump into... If it does, what we'll have to do is I'll have to drive around and find Richard Wright on another field, because I think I don't know if you can click up here. Can you find out who owns the other fields? It doesn't say. I think you actually have to go round the fields to try and find him. So that is really all I've got time for today. My question is, and don't forget, do you want me to... I'm going to get $125,000, and I'm not going to do that next. The next thing actually, I don't know. I might just sort of concentrate on getting the money. I'll get the money for this field and for this thing that I'm going to purchase. I'm either going to get 120,000 worth of sheep, and so that we've got... some wool pallets coming off them for a regular income, or I'm going to get some placeables and I will spend $120,000 on either some bee houses or a solar collector. It's your vote, it's your game. Head into the comment section, tell me why you're voting for what you're voting, and don't forget to actually vote up here. Click up here and on the white eye to cast your vote. If you've enjoyed this episode, please head down below and give me a like, and if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. Now, I am actually going to do this. I'm going to do that jump down there. We will, first thing tomorrow, we will do some fertilizer spreading back at our place, and then we will come back up here and we'll do some more work on this field, and if we can't do it on this field alone, we will have to find the other fields that he does own. So, let's get going. We want to get a good speed up. I don't often do this because it is not particularly realistic, but... Brilliant fun. Brilliant. I've just completely wrecked the suspension on my pickup, but fortunately this is an old pickup and it's not very good. Ooh! They released a new mod. I really want to show you this, and I'd really like to get it at some point. Road Rage. Look at this. Apparently, I don't know the vehicles. These aren't ones that I'm familiar with, but apparently these are popular models in the US, and some ones, I did read somewhere that this is actually based on a Mustang, is it? I wouldn't have a clue. I have got no idea. So is that a Mustang or not? I'm not sure. But 99 miles an hour top speed. I would like to get this one before we finish this Let's Play series on this map. I'm going to get this Road Rage car. I think it's a Mustang. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know what it actually is based on. But I'm going to get it. It might be the very final episode that we do on here. And we will get the car and then we will just drive like lunatics around the town and see what sort of airtime that we can get when we go up over the ramps and stuff like that. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be great fun. But yeah. So, until next time, folks, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.